I want to thank Ayo for the filler. Unfortunately, I'm not voting, but I have a voter joining me from Washington, D.C., United States, via Zoom, Bruce DelValle, a constitutional lawyer and international affairs analyst. Many thanks for joining us, Bruce.
I appreciate you having me.
All right. Democracy here in Nigeria has its similarities with yours, but I'm sure we have never had an entrant in a presidential race this late in the game. Is that good or bad for the Democrats?
Well, it's hard to tell. It's a great question. I think what we're seeing is the playing out of Joe Biden, President Biden, holding on too long. And now there had to be a change. So the change has been made. But let's make no mistake about it. This is not a coronation. It's an election. So there will be a convention, and the convention will determine who the candidate is. Just as President Trump was the presumptive candidate until the Republican convention in Milwaukee, the convention in Chicago next month will determine whether or not Vice President Kamala Harris is the candidate. It's more than likely she will be, but the Democratic Party has to be very careful. They can't rush this through because no one's voted for Kamala Harris to date to be the president or even to be the candidate. So the Democrats have to do this right. They can't rush through it. They're going to have to go through and call the votes from each state. Many states, or a few states, well, 31 states allow the Democratic Party to plug in a new candidate. However, many states that are critical don't let that happen, most notably Wisconsin. Wisconsin says that you can only substitute a candidate on the basis of death. Well, Joe Biden hasn't died. So what's going to have to happen is the electors that were sent there to vote for Joe Biden to make him the candidate are going to have to vote for whomever they wish to be the candidate. It may or may not be Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has some work to do. She's going to have to choose a running mate. And many people feel that whomever she chooses as a running mate is going to further bolster her ability to gain the nomination to be the candidate.
All right. Of course, I've been following developments, and Kamala Harris was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin yesterday. The same place former President Trump accepted his nomination and presented J.D. Vance as his running mate last week. She was received with enthusiasm there. Is that significant in any way?
Yes, it is. It is significant, Ms. John, and I think it's fascinating to many observers, including myself, how quickly she has stepped in and the fundraising has resulted. One of the things that one of the key phrases is she doesn't automatically get Joe Biden's electors. She does automatically get Joe Biden's cash. So she starts out with hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign funds, and anyone else that wants to be the nominee starts out with close to zero. So that is significant. It's also significant how she's been embraced. But let me caution, there are significant players, there's big giants, titans in the Democratic Party that have held back on endorsing her. And most significant among those is Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Also, Chuck Schumer, the Senate,
All right, it seems, all right. Bruce, you're still there. Thank you so much for remaining with us. Now, let's quickly look at this. Nigeria has quite a huge population of first, second, and third generation Americans, as well as other Africans who have emigrated to the U.S. Over the years. How can we bring this significant population to bear in this particular election?
Well, there's a concerted effort right now. One of my colleagues, Professor Shannon Nwaneri, who is a doctor in Maryland, just recently visited Nigeria, just came back with it is a council on the African diaspora for engagement to further ties, to strengthen ties that the Biden administration has created, along with Ms. Philomena Angugwa. They are working very hard to create cultural ties, artistic ties, commerce ties, and economic ties. But they're also in the Biden-Harris campaign. Now will be the Harris campaign. So they're trying to energize the Nigerian diaspora, the African diaspora in general, but let's be honest with each other. When you're talking about the African diaspora here in the United States, the biggest player is Nigeria. There's no question about that, with all apologies to the other nations. So there is an effort to lead the Nigerian diaspora into an atmosphere of enhanced political power by supporting Vice President Kamala Harris, and to be seen as a very powerful tool and a very powerful part of American politics. And I have always felt that the Nigerian diaspora is an untapped source of power, both in Nigeria proper and in the United States. I think that this will further coalesce and strengthen that. And the work of Professor Nwaneri and Ms. Agunga are critical to that. And they, like I said, they just came back from visiting. So you're going to see more and more efforts to bridge that gap across the ocean and make the diaspora a stronger player. And the strength of the diaspora cannot be underestimated. The largest group of professional people in any diaspora, in any nation, are Nigerians in the United States.
Fantastic. I think that's a fine place to leave the conversation. Thank you so much, W. Bruce DelValle, for joining us and sharing your insights with us on News Extra tonight.
Thank you.